Hello and welcome to the Social Recruiting Show. I'm Katrina Collier. I'm, of course, author of the Robot Proof Recruiter, and I'm a speaker and facilitator. I'm, of course, joined by my talented talent acquisition professional co-host, the one, the only, the amazing Glenn Martin.
Hola.
Glenn Martin's very slow this week. I don't know what's going on. If you haven't seen that video, please go dig it up. Today, we are super excited to be speaking with recruitment director, owner, fabulous human being altogether, Liz Nevitt. Welcome to the Social Recruiting Show.
Welcome to the show, Liz. Welcome to the show.
Liz knows her name. It's all good.
Yeah, exactly. Liz knows how to, pronounce her name on cue.
Absolutely. Now, most importantly, we, of course, yes, true, Glenn. Honestly, we need to sort you out. We, of course, wouldn't be here without our incredible sponsor, Enterprise Alumni. Oh, see, at least you can point up the correct side. Can't say your name, but thank you so much for keeping us going through this slightly annoying pandemic. So
thanks, guys.
You. Anyway, Liz, welcome.
Yeah, welcome, Liz.
Great to be on.
Yeah, definitely. It's lovely to have you as well. Seriously. So, opening question: how did you get into recruitment? Tell us.
How do we all get into recruitment? I think we all fall into it by accident. That's the key phrase, isn't it? Yeah. Came out of university.
No, hang on. Someone told me recently they actually planned it. Was that Lewis? Somebody told me that. I didn't believe it.
Was Lewis.
And
last week, Margaret as well.
Well, I came out of university knowing I wanted to work with people with my psychology degree, not sure which way I'd go, and then joined Hayes, my great big player, training basis, and then was there for 6 years, and then joined a smaller recruiter. So at Hayes, I learned all the processes and transactional side of, all the training. Definitely. Yeah, the great graduate program, fantastic social life, lots of life skills additional to that, which is good. And then I joined a small.
Does that mean like how to drink to 2 a.m. and still get up for work the next morning?
Yeah, in the same outfit. Yeah.
In the same outfit.
Yeah, they were hoodie days.
Yeah, back in the day.
I should write a book on that, actually. Yeah, and then I joined a smaller independent where I learned to become more of a better, well-rounded recruiter, and using those kind of human skills and really taking note of what the candidate-driven market was like. And that's where I've got, and the lady that ran that company is a mentor of mine now. She's one of my idols. And then we kind of dipped in and out of a bigger company with Capita, CER. They were an education recruiter.
Yeah.
I was made redundant from there, worked on site as a multi-academy trust as an on-site recruiter there, which I really liked. It's like, rather than being a salesperson, you're an on-site recruiter and partnership. And then that last year decided to branch out on my own business.
Wicked.
Oh, so last year you did that?
Last summer.
Ooh.
What a time to be.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Looking at your crystal ball, what the next 6 months, 9 months will bring.
I know. I mean, honestly, the first couple of months of this year was so good. Who saw that coming? Crazy. So we have a topic which we have already established that I cannot pronounce. Watch that video. So we're talking. No, it's like altruistic. Is that right?
Altruistic, absolutely.
Versus transactional recruitment. Oh my God, I got it right.
Oh, somebody's been practicing.
Hey, really randomly on that, have you seen on your LinkedIn profile now you can actually record your name? That's cool, because you should hear what the Americans do to Collier. Right. So anyway, back to you. What do you mean by altruistic?
Altruistic. Okay. Definitely a Friday afternoon.
An easier word, like being nice or something. No, I'm not.
Well, altruism is where you are providing not a service, but benefits to another person that isn't beneficial to you. So you're basically being it's a kind of generous-hearted action in layman's terms, with no want any payback from it. And it doesn't mean, and I know in recruitment, it doesn't mean providing your candidates for free, as in no fee, no money, not that at all. It's about it's again about the candidate-led process, but what you can provide where it makes it a positive experience for them, whatever the outcome. And it doesn't have to be a case of a black and white process at all. It's more than that. and that's what I really like.
Yeah, I agree.
I was told off by Ryan about my name. So does that mean you are basically representing the candidate to the client rather than the other way around, like going to try and find client openings and finding candidates, or not?
Yeah, it's both. It's both. So
Okay.
my role ultimately, is ultimately candidate led. So I'll start with the candidates, and there'll also be because with the sector I cover, there are senior candidates as well who are going to be clients, and then and they can see, which is quite interesting, how I work with candidates, how as a client they see what the process looks like. Yeah. And it's all about quality. It's not about volume for me. I'm being very subjective, so it's very much from my perspective, and it's very much about. I think there's a comment that Glenn made as well on his feed recently. It is literally doing what you say you're going to do, when calling the candidates back, when you say you're going to call them back, all the simple little things, all the small steps, and the engagement. Because I think when you're initially when you're registering candidates, it takes about 4 connections for them to really engage with you and invest with you and trust you.
And trust you. Mr. Stroud, hello. Let's make kindness and altruism trend in our industry. Wouldn't that be amazing? And Stephen Kosakow was talking about this, as someone who's a head of talent acquisition, how badly he's being treated by recruiters who potentially he could hire. And he's just going, this is crazy. I do just have to point this out. Yeah, I know, Ryan. I know you can pronounce my name, but let's be honest. I'm actually talking about Shannon. Shannon Pritchett cannot say my surname. She does something weird to it. Bless her.
I think it's
French, Collier.
Yeah. No, not even that. It's weird.
Yeah, it's got a French sounding name to it, like Collier.
I've got the video. I can share the video. Bless her. She's not on here. I'm being mean. Actually, there's loads. Hello, Debbie, Trexon, Vanessa, Raja, Ryan. Look at Ryan.
Hey, everyone.
Hi, guys.
Oh, no, sorry, ignore me. Go, because you're talking.
Well, I was going to say, Liz, actually, that post you referred to, because obviously kind of Mitch Sullivan came in and he was I think he was looking to sort of challenge what we were talking about, which is cool. That's what Mitch does, and I love that.
Loves an argument.
But he made us kind of really refine that, which was, that simple point of phoning somebody back even if they didn't get the job. And, altruism can be something as simple as give people some meaningful feedback, right?
Yeah.
Don't just give them that one-liner. So to your point around the candidate experience, I think there's so many opportunities to be altruistic. Why? I guess the question is, I don't know if you've got a view on this, why don't recruiters take that opportunity? Do you think we've been so trained in that sort of transactional approach that maybe we don't think about it? I don't know. What's your view?
Yep, I do. I think also it's the kind of the origins where they come from, their training. It can be embedded, but you can change that absolutely. And when you see someone like a mentor or one of your peers, and you see maybe they work that way, it's a revelation. It's good to take that lead and learn from other people, but also competition. If people are in competition, they don't think about, this is my perception of it, they're not thinking about the process. It's all about speed, and it's not bums on seats, but there isn't that element. They haven't got the time to spend 40 minutes, 45 minutes on the phone to a candidate to really get to understand them. Whereas I will. It's only me, and no one's breathing down my neck now. And I've always done that in my career. I remember when I was first working at Hayes and pre-registering a candidate, and one of my directors, who's fantastic, still in my circle now, but said, "You're on the phone too long. How long do you have to be on the phone for to really understand a candidate and then relay that to a client?" So that was kind of like a seed in my mind.
I'd have thought a good hour.
A decent candidate, absolutely. So any questions your client's going to ask you, you're going to have the answer for everything about that candidate.
You saying that as well makes me think of it the other way, where when it goes out to 2, 3, 4, 5 agencies, instead of clients sending it out to a couple,
or
one,
then well, potentially,
one
but
trusted.
I know, but I mean, and then you would feel like you can spend the time because you're not trying to get in your CV ahead of somebody else. As well.
And I work in education, so they're quite my schools are quite traditional, and they'll stick to who they know because of those relationships they've built. It's not like I've been out of commerce for so long now, so I don't even know what it looks like anymore and what the hiring manager's like. So if they do use that volume of agencies, I'm sure they do, supplier lists. So with regards to schools, and they don't usually use any more than 2 or 3 maximum, because it just complicates things even at 3. And if they did use any more, than that, I would say, right, you've got it covered. I'll leave it to you, because that's a waste of my time, I think. Personally.
But when you're in an agency with an SLA hanging over your head and a director breathing down your neck, you can't do that. The joy of being independent. I feel like I just have to quickly go, hi Kendra, happy 4th of July holiday. Sorry, just occasionally I feel the need to whack one in.
To all of our American friends, happy 4th of July, right? So actually, Liz, we got a question. Is it a question or a comment?
No, it's a statement from Mr. David Allen. I think there is so much pressure on some recruiters that they completely forget they're dealing with people. And that is in-house and agency. I've seen it both sides.
Definitely.
Completely. Yeah.
I was chatting to Jim Berriford this week, right? He made a really great point, and I'd be interested to kind of get your thoughts. He was like, if you're trying as an agency, if you're trying to kind of change the dynamic of the relationship with the client, you've got to move past the preferred supplier list and really get into that kind of that partnership space, right? You've got to try and really illustrate that you're doing more than just providing a service. And I was curious as to how you've managed to do that with the clients that you're working with. What kind of different type of conversation did you have to kind of get to the point where you're like, I'm a partner now, I'm not just a service provider?
Well, the first question, this is like one of my secret vaults, but it's a common question. When I speak to schools and speak to the head, what's your leadership style like? How do your staff see you? And ask them about them, really. And it's not how often to use an agency, what jobs, you've got any jobs, it's not that. That's back in the 90s. It's now a case, how do you influence your working environment? What are your team like around you? What measures do you take for your staff? Who do you think would fit and who would work well with you and you with them? So that's kind of where I start. It's all very, it's all personal. It's got to be. And
but nobody's going to expect that question either, which is going to make you stand out a mile.
When I worked at the trust last year, and I went to all the schools, we had to go. There's 23 schools in this trust, and we had to meet all the heads. It's a brilliant job. I loved it. And seeing these heads and I said to them, "What's your leadership style like?" And they all went, "Oh, I've never been asked that question before. How could they not be asked that question before?" They're
crazy, right?
They're the top end of the school. Their influence is important. The good leadership comes from the top, and they use their team. So it's and also having that experience. I know that a new consultant won't challenge clients or candidates. I appreciate that, because that's a learning process. But when you're seasoned recruiters like we are, it's great to challenge, having that conversation, asking those hard questions, because you'll hold lot from it.
But it also comes from the pain, doesn't it? Where you've got the role and you're flinging CVs and you're just flinging mud and nothing's sticking. And eventually you go like, I have to change something. And usually it is that you haven't asked the right questions up front. You haven't got the right job description. You haven't got the one of two agencies or even Sol. I did hear you, Glenn. But it doesn't always happen, right? But you know what I mean? It takes experience and getting used to that.
But I don't despair. If I call if I'm speaking to a school, a client about a role, I don't despair that they're using other people, because I feel, I've got something that I can bring to you that we're really going to benefit. Both of us are going to benefit from. I'm really going to enjoy working with you, and I'm not afraid to think like that. And whether that's it's not overconfidence at all, but it's something different. There are still players out there, consultants out there, still working through the 1990s type, and creating.
I think, Liz, I think what you're saying there is, it's not overconfidence, but it is confidence in what you can deliver. You all of us have had a career in this industry, from this industry, 10 years plus, right? So we must be doing something right. And it's the confidence to know how to do the job really well. And I think back to that point around kind of recruitment as a whole, I think there was a real period where recruitment was just looked upon as a sales role. It was likened to a sales role. And I think that's generated that transactional approach. Let's be fair, some of the adverts for recruiters, it's like opportunity to earn X, Y, Z. I mean, if that doesn't sound like a sales role, what does,
It is changing though.
Yes.
It is, isn't it? The last 3 months, 4 months has shown that as well. People know they have to evolve and have a different tact, a different approach. And where when I work with my candidates, I'm candidate led, as I said, and very interesting about all the key recruiters on LinkedIn, the HR directors, how they're being treated by those consultancies, if they will remember that, be it good or bad. And I always have that in my mind, that this person is a client, even if they're like a finance officer now, in 5 years' time, they could be a financial controller. It doesn't matter.
It's hard not to sit with just a tiny weeny little element of good. I know this sounds really bad, so just don't shoot me down. But in the respect of, if all of the recruiters remember how badly they're being treated right now, let's hope when they're in roles, they change that candidate experience. Louise Gallup has written something really interesting. It really frustrates me that recruiters aren't altruistic. Seriously, couldn't have used an easier word. This, I guess, is what separates the guff recruiters. Never use
I love
the
that
word.
guff.
Love that.
Love it. So it separates the guff recruiters from the real ones. Puzzles me when recruiters don't care about reputation. Recruiting is all about relationships and networking, surely.
I agree completely. And to Liz's point, trust me, don't get me wrong, because I can, kind of pick up on some of the less than positive practices of the recruitment industry. I'm super, super positive about where we're going. I think as an industry as a whole, I think the majority of people are really getting on the bandwagon of understanding the value of kind of, seems crazy, right? But the real value of candidate feedback and that relationship and networking. So I'm completely on board with you, Liz. I think
it's definitely about that.
It's definitely tracking in the right direction. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So,
but this surely must shake people up as well. Because to really experience it badly and really feel it and really understand what we've been putting people through, I hope they go back into work and go, I'm not going to do that to anyone ever again.
I do. Yeah, I do too. And also, it's interesting speaking to candidates that that are in my kind of realm. And I don't have a whole load of people registered with us, but they're all good quality people that I can actively work with. And I said, when I speak to people over the years who placed you in your role, interesting how they can't remember who replaced them.
Yeah.
I can't recall the person and think, well, what did that person do? Why is that? What happened in the process for you to forget? Really?
Yeah.
And I want to be remembered by my candidates. I really do.
God, I'm still Facebook friends with a ton of my old IT contractors.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah. They were awesome. They used to go in and get rate increases and get me an increase at the same time, because that's how much I'd look after them, because I just wanted to make sure they were paid. Sorry. Jayashree has written something interesting. At times, giving feedback backfires on recruiters. If you're rejecting the candidate for that position, few candidates can take rejection and start arguing and escalating it through emails. Jayashree is in India, so I don't know if there's a cultural thing. That's quite interesting. Have you had that experience when you're?
I've had yes, I have had that, and because the candidate was so sure in their mind that they had the role. They had the role completely.
I hate when they say that.
They were absolutely, and so when it's a fair game. So when they're going in for an interview, if they're one of three, I would say you've got a 33% chance. So anything can happen on the day. Do the best you can do. So when you give them feedback, and I did, and a candidate came back to me via email saying, well, why didn't I get it, etc., etc. And I thought, is this person going to go direct to the client as well? Because some can, if they've got that. Not that they all do it, but they feel so strongly about it. So we had a face-to-face call just for me to really explain and break down. And it wasn't negative feedback, but the client did say to me that the other person just had the edge. And I said, that's not going to wash. You need to clarify that. Give me more detail. Why? They were just the heads above, or they had something else. That's not enough. And it won't satisfy the candidate either. And it was more about they were graded on, marked on their questions. So it was really a numbers game. Yeah.
And I think that's important to do that face to face as well, Liz, right? Because it's easy to send an email. It's probably a little less easier to phone call, but actually video face to face, people will appreciate that, right?
Yep, absolutely. And it goes and they take on what you're saying much better, and they actually and they can use that in the future. So and we'll rework our campaign. So if somebody isn't successful in an interview, I'll go back to them and say, right, okay, we're going to look at, there is a role out there for you. This is what we're going to do as an action plan, and then work to that as well. So they've got a structure. I won't overpromise. If I can't deliver, not that I don't often use that, but as quickly as I'd like to, I'll be honest with them as well about that, so they know kind of my strategy and they know where I'm coming from. And I think that's the engagement of both the client and the candidate.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on, Katrina.
No. I mean, it's just being honest, isn't it? Just quick on that feedback thing. I actually got moved. You know, when you're like, you really get moved because you think of God, how much frustrating that is. I did a piece of work for the CIPD the other weekend, and I've been chatting with this girl, and she's got all of these administration skills. She's got a psychology degree. She's in the middle of doing her CIPD, and she wants to get into a HR admin role. She'll get interviewed. No experience required. Then she'll get knocked back because the other applicant had experience, and she's just going like, why are you interviewing me and how am I meant to grow? She must be saying something that she could benefit, like improve, and she's like, it was hearing her just how upset she is. She says this has been going on for 3 years since I got my degree, and it's just like, what are we doing to people? This playing with people's lives.
Yeah, absolutely. But also, when you can get honest feedback from the client as well, then if it's really hard to take, but at least they know what's happening, so we can remedy that and help them to improve that, and then make the next interview successful. Hopefully, my God, we can't work in ignorance. We have to know what's going to work with that transparency and be really kind of honest about it.
Definitely. And I think this perhaps is certainly when you get that kind of somebody that doesn't take interview feedback particularly well, or initially the no particularly well. I think that it's possibly a result of the fact that it's that they've experienced that transactional side, where basically if you don't get the job first time, you probably never hear from that agent again. Or it's kind of a situation where you've had a conversation with an agent, they've been really excited about your CV, brilliant, they're going to be coming back to me with a few jobs, nothing.
Yeah.
And it's just not even an email to say, hey Liz, we spoke a couple of weeks ago, nothing's really come through at the moment, but I will be in contact. Nothing. So it increases people's anxiety, right? Because they think this is my one shot and I've lost it. What am I going to do now? And I'm not entirely sure people really realise that that's perhaps going on,
Because they're feeling vulnerable as it is. They're feeling anxious about what's happening, particularly now as well. So having that, and this is where I say about altruism, and in the last few months particularly, I've always worked this way. This isn't a difference for me, but I kind of stepped up more with regards to clients, getting to know them more personally. But with regards to my candidates, they're all feeling vulnerable. Things have changed. It's the unknown, and we're having conversations not about them at their jobs. It's about their families, about their hobbies and things. Getting to know them. Hilarious conversations. Wine, stories from uni, whatever, but really getting to know our people, so to speak, and it was fantastic. And they really bought into that. And with regards to that, I've been getting a lot more feedback from them with regards to roles they're applying for or their changing aspirations, and that's been a real buy-in from this side. And there are some people that are on their own and have that vulnerability. So mental health matters, really does, and it's been great to provide some kind of support to them and be a bit of a counsellor and a mum, and just having a laugh with them, being inappropriate, which has been great fun. But great, really good candidate.
Inappropriate. This is my whole thing. I have to laugh about, like, some of the stuff LinkedIn does where it's like professional or not professional. Having a laugh, like there is no laugh reaction. Like sometimes things on LinkedIn are funny. That doesn't mean it's not professional. You can't send a GIF of a hug in the messages, but oh my God, go in and type wall, WALL, into the GIF thing and see what comes up. And you're like, what? And I can't send a hug? Like, give me a break. Sorry, just do that later. Mr. Jerry Crispin, the king of candidate experience. When hiring is a job, it's basically short-term transactions whose basic return is putting food on the table. As a career, you can't help, brackets, hopefully, to look for, as a career, you can't help, hopefully, to look for higher levels of satisfaction in return for the investment of your life. We need to help those technicians to see what we do as a respected profession. Then altruism becomes common. That is a big problem. There isn't a respect level, is there? There's a lot of recruiter admin function in-house, and then recruiter agency. Like there's too much of that, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. That flippant kind of cast off, really, and it's not. We have to work hard to prove that we are far more than that. That we want to genuinely want to work as partnership. And again, they're just saying you want the fee, you've got a fee across your forehead, kind of thing. That's much more than that. And the work that we put into all of our client accounts with regards to the process. They haven't got a clue, and you think, well, why? This is what the end result is. You get good quality service, good quality candidates, and it's very easy just to be dismissed, isn't it? And I don't.
I don't think they really do understand either side, be it what an in-house or an agency recruiter really does, like and how tough it can be. I mean, particularly because it's teachers, right? So short supply. You know, anyone recruiting in tech, short supply, the work involved.
Support staff. It's there is a lot of the hours of pre-screening and Zoom calls and coaching, and with regards to interviews in particular, but also I will agree spending time with those clients, spending that a good hour with that client face to face or on a Zoom call as well, and really probing them and not. Like you say.
Here's a question for you, Liz. Little curveball, right? Well, no, it's an opinion piece. It's an opinion piece.
Glenn does this every Friday. It's like, beware. Well, it always comes about now as well, actually.
It's just an opinion piece. Do you think, to a degree, some of the way the recruitment industry is viewed is a result of the commercial model, right? So basically, everybody kind of has this view that, okay, recruitment, so you get paid on the placement, right? So immediately the value gets aligned to the basic salary, and we've almost said everything else is in there kind of for free. We haven't really quantified the value of it. So we haven't quantified the value of the conversations we have. We haven't qualified the value of candidate experience. We haven't qualified the value of the sort of search and selection and process. We've just said all those things equal this fee. And I think that's part of the problem is people perceive it as just, okay, you get that fee if you find me that person. And we've got to do a better job of trying to really kind of articulate the value of those things, the value of that 30 to 45 minute qualifying call and the value that you bring as a person with your 10 years of experience. I think that's one of our challenges, to educate business around the value of recruitment. What's your thoughts?
Well, imagine if you put a proposal to the client and put the hours allocated to each stage of that process, from the initial search to also the advertising campaign, whatever that is, the headhunting, and that could be hundreds of hours. It depends on what, and I think that would be a real eyebrow raiser with the clients as well. It's like, oh, actually, you are doing something. These people don't just appear on the given day that you want to see them. There's far more involved in that as well. Blood, sweat, and tears. Managing expectations from the candidate perspective, changing aspirations, it's never, we're dealing with people. They are an unpredictable commodity. We know that. So it's when I'm only ever happy, I think, when I've placed a person, they've been there for 6 months. The probation period is 2 months, but they've been there 6 months, and that's it. I'm happy that I can let them go.
They're staying now.
They can go off into the distance, like children to university.
If only we could get everybody that was hiring, like just to spend that hour with the recruiters or in-house, whatever you want to call it, like that initial upfront, because so few will. And I think this is like, certainly I realized it writing the book, and I've been going on about it since then, is this that initial intake. If we can't get that right,
but that's an idea there, definitely, with regards to the webinars that have been happening recently with the Recruitment Network, and inviting clients, as in commercial clients, education, all sectors, to join those networks and get a feel for what we actually do and what we talk about, and how
and why we say you have to give us that time up front. If you give us that time up front, you'll save tons, and we won't make you look stupid in the industry, which I think matters now as well. There's more comments. I feel the need to flick across the screen, if that's okay. Debbie today from across the pond on July the 4th holiday. One of the reasons I deliberately avoid automating aspects of my business is because it starts to limit the already minimal number of touch points that you get to have with each candidate. There are opportunities for relationship building. I should stay looking at it before I flick off. Dush, hello Dush. My opinion, but I think we should be honest and set realistic expectations to remove the unknown, and adding that human touch makes a huge difference rather than being robotic or just transactional. Build that long-lasting relationship.
Yep.
There's another. I know. Go. Sorry, I haven't read that one yet. I always like to pre-read them in case they're a bit don't make sense what we're talking about.
But when I receive applications for a role as well, and I try to resort to my own database first of all, as well as advertising. But when people come through, if they're not suitable, but they've got potential, I will say, right now, I don't have anything for you. You're not right for this role, but have you like signpost them to people that can help them and other agencies that can help as well. But if they're like a really strong commercial person, but the education is looking for, then I'll say, right, potential, but we'll signpost you somewhere else. But they'll always get a response back, because like you say about applying for a role and nobody comes back to you, it's like throwing your CV into the ether again, isn't it? And it's just respectful, just being respectful about that human touch.
And also even sorry
I'm on
you're the guest, you go quick, go. You're meant to be talking, I'm meant to be quiet.
But the candidates that you have are like candidates that aren't even placed through you, treat them like they are placed through you. That's what I do with candidates. So when they start a role, send them a good luck card with your card inside as well. But also there are candidates that have been for an interview directly, not through another agency, but I've helped them give them interview preparation as well, with regards to some schools won't go for an agency, but I know the school and give them background to that school as well. And one of my best testimonials has come from a candidate I didn't place, who we had a really wonderful connection with, and he's a recruiter within this client. So hopefully he'll use me moving forward. Not that that's what I expected, but he's a really great guy. So I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool.
Ooh. Can I pull Kendra's in? Sorry,
Louise.
Let's
see what Kendra's got to say.
Kendra, human touch. I'm internal recruiting in a very narrow. Oh God, why can't I speak this afternoon? Mind you, this is every Friday, isn't it? Human touch. I'm internal recruiting in very narrow AV industry. Each candidate could be a customer or a partner. Since it's been slow, I often opt to screen via Zoom rather than phone. So really spend personal time with the potential candidate, the good ones. We are all struggling in one way or the other. Yeah. It is funny, isn't it, when you can see into someone's home? You kind of go, okay, what is that behind on the shelf behind you, Liz? You know, like you start, like,
I like that wallpaper. Nice picture.
Everyone loves Glenn's wallpaper. He's not blending in with it today, though.
No.
But you do get a different aspect. But at the same time, I also like to walk up and down my garden on the phone, so I get frustrated when I'm stuck on it. But yeah, I completely get what Kendra's saying there. It's very cool.
There's absolutely no excuse to just drop on a video call these days. It's so easy, right? I mean, the tech is there, it's free, and you know, immediately you there's a better connection, right? Better sense of that person. Sorry, Liz, you were about to say something. I jumped in as well.
No.
We're great hosts.
Amazing.
This was great. I'm having a blast. I was just going to say that it's with that connection as well. They won't forget that. They will remember that as well, and it will come back in some way. And paying it forward. All the little touches as well. And people, candidates who have been placed in roles through other agencies. I know we all do it. You track them, see how they're doing, and just keeping in touch, but being visible to them as well, and making yourself available. And it's having that, going that a little bit, going much further than they're expecting, than I expect as well. Some things can evolve. The process can evolve with there could be preparation, anything that they're looking for, that you're available to them where you can be. And that's
I also think that's where you can get like off LinkedIn. Right. So I put money, again, with the people you recruit, I put money there on Instagram and stuff like that. So you can go find them there, and then you stay in touch with that behind the scenes stuff. Like all of my HR clients are on Instagram, I'm following and chit-chatting with all the time. So you're constantly, keeping in touch easily, but you're seeing all the personal stuff. Jerry's written a really long one there, Glenn, that I need to read, because you need to read, because it's just you. But
I was going to say, I've just seen Stephen
No?
Koskow's just started watching.
Okay,
anybody,
so they're not making more Stephen Koskow comments.
If you want some fun, if you want something that really make you smile, you need to watch Stephen's video of him exercising with his dog Pepper, completely accurate. It's so cool.
He's brilliant. He's also a gym instructor, so he does awesome stuff. Right,
it's totally cool.
Glenn, you read Jerry's comment. I'm just going to bring in Tush's comment. This is I just thought you should read it and then let me know if I need to pull it in. This is unorthodox, but have you ever referred someone to another company just to help them, regardless of being agency or in-house? This is true kindness and actually help someone in their career without you getting anything out of it. I've done it sometimes, but probably not enough.
Yeah, I secretly when I was leaving my last company before at the end of 2018, we were being redundant. Being made redundant. So there were some roles happening.
She's whispering.
and there were that we had some roles coming on, and I just said to the candidates, apply directly to the schools and let that happen. And also a couple of people did get the positions that they we signposted them to. And recently, when Mark Gaisford on LinkedIn in April, he was saying like no fee Friday, and I stepped up to the challenge. There was a candidate that a school was looking for a temporary person, and signposted them to the school, and they actually got some private work with the school, which is really good.
Yeah,
and it's
not placements, love that. Yeah, but it's a funny thing. I found, so having left, I haven't recruited for ages, and I'm very honest about that. Hence, there's so many other people contributing to the book. But when I can help someone, and I have helped people, and actually people from the show have got jobs and stuff, I still get such a buzz, whether I've got, get the fee or not get the fee. And honestly, if you're not getting that buzz, please leave the recruitment industry, please. If you don't get that,
if you're not loving it, leave it.
No, you've got it. It makes me high. Yeah, it's a really good feeling. And
I think it's definitely worth bringing up Jerry's comment.
Okay, right, because it was very long, so I thought maybe you should. Yeah. Are you going to read this one so I don't have to screw it up?
Oh yeah, totally. Yes, Glenn. Actually, we can articulate the quality of the specific practices that have an impact on the candidate experience. So 80% of the variants are simply 5 practices, and we know how to calibrate the reward of doing it well and the cost of doing it poorly. Right. Yes, fair point. The data has been well researched at Talent Board, reference for anybody who wants to check out the data, over 10 years. And we drive the education of it and the accountability of it and the business necessity. So really, tuning into that kind of data-driven piece, which we've heard is really cool.
Yeah, that's absolutely what they do. And the Candidate Experience Awards and all sorts.
That's wicked.
That's cool as well. Kendra, I refer people back to my old agency.
Yeah. I think isn't there a point here as well? Also, altruism can be just being really honest with people and saying, "I'm sorry, I can't help you. That's not what I do." Rather than set that kind of false precedent of, so say for instance you're a tech recruiter and somebody gets referred to you by a friend, and maybe they're in finance or compliance or whatever, and you want to help, but you can't, right? So the best thing to do is kind of go, look, I go here, but I personally cannot help you. Don't leave them with that lingering thought that actually something's going to come of it. Have you had that scenario yourself, Liz?
I have. I've had a candidate I placed, and they referred their partner to me. So I was like, could be a little bit tricky, but I will be honest about it. And I said that's kind of not my forte, but I can refer you to. There's a couple of agencies, and also somebody that I know that I referred them to as well. But I did say to them, look, if I have anything like a very random conversation with a client that looking for someone like you, I'll certainly be in touch. But I won't be contacting you as regularly as I would somebody that I would be working on quite actively. So they know the ground rules of that.
I think then you're also explaining, and I'm not sure a lot of candidates really get this, or job seekers get this, that we really are, we're representing our clients in a certain niche in general, so that we're not like taking, here's Liz is, actually currently Glenn, like, hi Glenn, by the way. I can taking Glenn and I'm selling Glenn into a company. It doesn't like work like that in general. It might do in a few niches and high end, but in general, sorry Glenn, I'm not saying you're not high end. Oops. When you're like got something halfway at your mouth and you're like, that's really shit, Katrina. But it's that, and I think a lot of people think, well, I applied and therefore I'm going to be represented that way, and that can be tough. I mean, going back to the spring days when we would get so many CVs in, and then a colleague might call them and they're like, well, I just spent an hour with Katrina, and they don't, because there's so much transaction going on, which makes it worse.
It doesn't work that way. And I think also because of the roles that are coming in from clients, from my experience, is conversations. So you don't know what you're expecting at the end of that. You might start with something in your head, an idea in your head, what's going to happen, and it's completely different by the end of the conversation. So and it's all kind of very subjective anyway. And so going out to market, like you have a candidate and take him out to market. That's a way.
It would be lovely.
It's just I'm sorry, I can't make that call going, hello, Mr. Client, I've got so-and-so in my hand. Have you got any jobs? So it doesn't work for me personally. It's it could be, how has this impacted your trust, your school? What are you doing right now? How are things changed?
Yeah, exactly.
So with regards to you let it kind of develop, a natural conversation.
The other thing I would say, I'm going back a bit we were talking about like just responding to everybody. So right now, recruiters are really understanding what it's like, and I'm seeing, oh my God, I saw one role that had like 1,200 applications, like crazy. Wow. There is technology available in-house people that you can put in on your database to respond to everybody. And, and that autoresponder should have your name and your phone number and your email address, because you actually want to talk to the people that chase you up, because most people won't. If I was hiring a recruiter, I want the recruiter that tracked me down 6 different ways and was stalking me. That's the recruiter I want to hire. But yeah, it's that you can reply to everybody. It is possible.
Yeah. And you can provide, if it's, so the challenge there would be, volume recruitment. If you deal in volume recruitment, right, people would be like, well, I haven't got time to contact everybody. And that autoresponder is the first point. But hey, you can update that autoresponder.
Oh,
you can say, oh, now we've got X amount of, applications. We're going to have to close this off and consider you. And actually, now we're at interview stage, so we're not going to be doing any more CV reviews. Tell people what's going on. You don't need to personalize it, but at least give them some visibility as to why they're not going to progress.
You can personalize it. You can put your name on it. Ignore it, Glenn.
Yeah.
Sorry, I hate that. From the talent acquisition team. No, from Katrina Collier. Here's my phone number. But also you can do things like, oh, here, go over here to this page. It's got job search tips. It's got some interview prep. It's got some more information about us. You can give them something.
Yeah. So it gives you, and you can you're in control of that as well. It's not like an overwhelm. So you can like let them know what's happening with their side, and then you're on top of things too. And it's it makes it much more effective.
Human.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Altruistic.
Altruistic.
I've learned to say it. Only taken me 42 minutes.
So sorry, go on, Liz.
It's a very how I work is it's subjective to and every candidate, and they're all very individual. Very interesting process as well, but also learning from them. Like what do they want from the process? What does a good recruiter look like to them as well? I've asked them about their feedback. Who would they? If they're registered anywhere else, what does that recruiter look like, and why are they good? What do they like?
And how do you want to be communicated with could be a good one as well. Because like, can you send me a text? Another might be an email. Another might be, I don't know, video message or something like. I think these days that's a really important question as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Actually. You want to keep someone on the hook. You don't want to lose them because you're sending them emails and they're like, I never look at my emails.
Yeah, some people just like. WhatsApp, Zoom calls.
WhatsApp. Yeah,
some people love a Zoom call.
I mean, I'll not be funny. Seriously, a WhatsApp message just sort of says, "Hey," like so Fridays, and I'm sure you're the same, Liz, right? And I know Katrina was, right? Every Friday, you make sure you contact everybody, kind of just give a summary for the week, any outstanding actions. Hey, I'll get back to you on that, and that. Gives people comfort going into the weekend. You don't want to make somebody's weekend really shitty by them just sitting there thinking, did I get the job? Didn't I get the job? Is this going to be resolved? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Don't crap on people's weekends, man. Give them something, Yeah.
But also, I've got either client where the candidates have to fill in a very, very detailed application form, and they all put really great effort into it. So they were submitted, and HR were rubbish. They were rubbish. They weren't coming back to me. I couldn't give any feedback to the candidates, and I was trying to call the HR manager. And I actually know this person quite well. And towards the end of it, this is like months ago, and it all went very quiet. And I said to the candidates, please take it right now that this probably is not going to move. So don't pin your hopes on this. If I come back to you with something positive, I will. But right now, forget it. It's all over. And I went to the HR manager and said to her, this is a really bad impression you're creating of your trust with this sort of role. You need to review your internal processes as well with that and feedback.
Yes, Liz.
It was a waste of time.
Yeah,
right? I was really cross about it, but very professional. Just like, and this is a HR manager that I know, and she said, she did come back to me. She said, "I'm really sorry with regards to senior leadership but we need to know the process as well." And she was unusually very accommodating and listened, so that was a positive.
Cool.
Yeah.
Which is, of course, what HR is meant to do, because they're meant to be responsible for the people that come into the company. So they should be caring about how the people come into the company.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Pandora's box being opened there.
Yeah, don't open that one on me.
That's it, yeah. It's a conversation for another time.
It is a conversation for another time. We're actually out of time, which just is bizarre.
Oh, no.
I know, just as we open Pandora's box of Katrina wants to rant about something. Next week we have Mr. Ted Hewitt. It's a little off topic, actually. I know, I bet it's not the topic I have written there, so I'm going to ignore that and I'll see what we come up with by next week.
We're talking beards. That's
yes, we so need a beard oil sponsor. It would just be hilarious. I will no longer have COVID hair, which would be just amazing. Sorry, just had to share that. We'll be able to see, and there'll be fewer. I can't even see. I've left it because I'm getting it Wednesday.
But never mind next week for the moment.
Worth tuning in for. Huh?
Yeah, never mind next week for the moment, because it's all about this week and it's all about Liz Nevitt. Thank you, Liz.
I was just about to say thank you. You just beat me to it.
Yeah.
It's so rude. Liz, thank you for all of that. That was absolutely brilliant. I can't believe how fast it's flown. Thank you for all of the comments and the questions and all of that. And of course, thank you again to Enterprise alumni. We couldn't do it without you. We shall be back next week with no COVID here at 3 p.m. UK time, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Europe. Oh, you know, all of those times. Please come back and join us again. We love all your questions and comments. Thank you again, Liz, and have a fabulous weekend, everyone. Bye.
Bye.